The silence is what kills you. Not the chaos, everyone survives the chaos. It's the 48 hours after the screaming stops, when the grocery stores have been stripped to concrete and your neighbor's eyes linger a half-second too long on your child, that you realize preparation wasn't paranoia. It was the price of admission to what comes next. Most families have a 30-day window between the first signs of collapse and total systemic failure, and almost none of them see it closing until the lock clicks shut. Here's the physics of societal breakdown, stripped of the prepper fantasy and Hollywood drama. When a city loses power for more than 72 hours, water pressure fails. When water pressure fails, sewage backflows. When sewage backflows, cholera and dysentery become more lethal than any roving gang. This isn't speculation, it's thermodynamics and microbiology. The average urban center maintains a 3-day food supply. The average human becomes desperate on day 4. Your survival depends entirely on understanding that you're not preparing for the collapse itself. You're preparing for the 30 days after it, when everyone else realizes they should have prepared. The catastrophic hook isn't a nuclear strike or a zombie outbreak. It's the grid going down on a Tuesday morning and not coming back up. No announcement, no warning beyond some financial tremors your cousin mentioned at Thanksgiving that you dismissed as conspiracy theory. Just the hum of civilization stopping mid-note. Your phone dies and doesn't recharge. Traffic lights blink out. Gas pumps stop working because they're electric. Within 6 hours, hospitals are on generator backup. Within 18 hours, those generators run dry because the fuel trucks could unnavigate the gridlocked intersections where abandoned cars sit like tombstones. By day 3, the average person has consumed their pantry and is making their first desperate trip to a store that SR'd been looted twice. This is where the 30-day window opens, and most families stand there staring at it like it's a magic trick they don't understand. They wait for government response. They wait for power restoration. They wait for normalcy to resume like a TV show after commercial break. The ones who survive don't wait, they move with cold. Technical precision through a checklist most people never knew existed. Start with water, because the human body is a chemistry experiment that fails catastrophically without it. You have 72 hours before dehydration begins, cognitive impairment. Don't stockpile bottled water, it's heavy, expensive, and announces your preparation to anyone watching. Instead, identify your building's water heater. 40 to 50 gallons of potable water, already in your home, that most people forget exists. Drain it through the bottom spigot before municipal pressure fails and it becomes contaminated with backflow. Learn to purify water using bleach, 8 drops of unscented household bleach per gallon. Let it sit for 30 minutes. This is chemistry, not survival mysticism. Sodium hypochlorite neutralizes pathogens through oxidation. It works because chlorine is more electronegative than the molecular bonds holding bacteria together. Food comes next, but not the freeze-dried camping meals that cost $3 per serving. Rice, beans, flour, salt, and oil, the 5 ingredients that built every civilization before ours. 25 pounds of rice and 15 pounds of beans will keep an adult alive for a month. They're cheap, shelf-stable for years, and don't require refrigeration. More importantly, they don't mark you as a prepper when you buy them. No one questions the immigrant family buying 50-pound rice sacks. Everyone questions the suburban dad buying tactical meal kits in camouflage packaging. Invisibility is survival strategy. Heat and light become lethal problems the moment everyone else loses them. A human body at rest generates roughly 100 watts of heat. In winter, you'll lose that faster than you can produce it without external warmth. Forget fireplaces, they announce your location to everyone within visual range and consume wood faster than you can safely gather it in an urban environment. Propane camping stoves with 20-pound tanks. 1 tank provides roughly 30 hours of cooking heat. 4 tanks get you through the critical first month. Store them on a balcony or outdoor space. Propane, heavier than air, accumulates in enclosed spaces and turns your apartment into a fuel-air bomb waiting for ignition. This is physics keeping you alive while everyone else freezes in the dark. The psychological edge separates the survivors from the bodies. Everyone imagines they'll be calm in crisis, that their rational mind will guide them through disaster with clear-eyed pragmatism. The reality is, your limbic system, the ancient reptile brain that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah, takes over within hours of perceived threat. It doesn't care about long-term planning. It wants calories now, safety now, answers now. You'll watch educated, rational people devolve into screaming animals fighting over the last package of diapers at a strip store. Not because they're bad people, but because their frontal cortex has been overridden by a fear response that's 10 million years old. Your advantage is pre-deciding. You don't wait until you're hungry to figure out where food comes from. You don't wait until you're scared to determine your exit strategy. The human brain makes catastrophically poor decisions under stress. This is documented neuroscience. Cortisol and adrenaline narrow your cognitive aperture to immediate threat response. You become literally stupider when afraid. So you make the hard decisions now, when your prefrontal cortex still functions, and you execute them mechanically when the crisis hits. That means knowing your city's forgotten infrastructure. Every major city has utility tunnels, maintenance corridors, and forgotten subway extensions that don't appear on tourist maps. These aren't fantasy bunkers, they're real infrastructure that service workers use daily and civilians ignore completely. In a grid-down scenario, surface streets become kill zones where desperate crowds fight over resources. Below-ground routes offer temperature, stability, protection from weather, and most critically, paths that avoid human bottlenecks. This knowledge isn't locked away, it's in municipal archives, old construction records, and conversations with maintenance workers who will happily explain their daily routes if you ask respectfully. The timing of your exit matters more than your destination. Everyone imagines they'll bug out when things get bad. They'll pack the SUV, grab the family, and head for the countryside. Here's what actually happens. Everyone tries this simultaneously. Highways become parking lots within hours. Gas stations run dry in the first day. Your capable vehicle becomes a immobile metal box where you and your family sit exposed while fuel gauges tick toward empty. The window to leave closes faster than human intuition suggests because everyone has the same instinct. You either leave in the first 6 hours before the panic sets in or you shelter in place for the full 30 days. Leaving on day 3 or day 7 is suicide. You're entering the chaos at peak desperation, with depleted resources and no realistic path to safety. The survivor stays put, invisible, rationing resources in an urban apartment while everyone else exhausts themselves fighting over scraps. Or they leave immediately, before the evacuation becomes a death march. The families that miss this window share common traits. They wait for official instruction. They assume restoration of services. They believe their normalcy bias that tells them unprecedented events can't actually happen. They confuse preparation with paranoia and comfort with safety. They stockpile nothing because stockpiling feels extreme. They learn nothing because learning feels unnecessary. And when the screaming stops and the 30-day window slams shut, they discover that survival belongs exclusively to those who prepared while everyone else called them crazy. This isn't about building a bunker or abandoning society. It's about understanding that the thin veneer of civilization is exactly that thin. 3 missed meals separate a human from an animal. 9 missed meals separate a city from a war zone. Your survival depends on seeing this clearly while everyone around you insists it's impossible. The grid will fail. Supply chains will break. The unprepared will suffer catastrophically. And somewhere in your city right now, someone is buying rice in bulk, learning water purification, and mapping utility tunnels not because they want collapse, but because they understand that hope isn't a survival strategy. Preparation is the only vote you get in what happens next.